And here we have Adrian Clarke. Welcome. How are you?
Yeah, very good. I've had worse weekends, that's for sure, Akil.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a bit special, wasn't it, at the
Mm.
weekend? I absolutely loved it, and yeah, it's put us in a lovely spot, hasn't it? Now that we have almost a month until our next Premier League game, which just is bonkers, really.
It is. Yeah.
So yeah, no, feeling good, mate. Feeling
But
good.
yeah. Before we kind of start on the football, I think it's I wasn't going to let you get away with the fact that you've got. Well, as people watch this now, this is obviously pre-recorded. You've done a spa day today and a restaurant with your missus that you forgot about because you booked us in and actually forgot about it.
Well, no, yeah. So yeah, my big apologies. So I was supposed to be here live. Yeah, a very rare day off. Yeah, my missus has booked me. It booked us into a spa day, so that's nice.
Yeah.
But I didn't realise that it included a dinner at the end of said spa day, which means that I'm really struggling to get back in time for the meeting. Hence, we're doing this little pre-record. But
Yeah.
yeah, apologies to everybody. Yeah, my bad.
Just got visions now of you at dinner looking at your watch every couple of minutes.
Oh, mate, yeah, no,
Nine
I'll be in
minutes.
my robe as we
Well,
speak.
well. Then looking at the clock, then at the grandfather clock in the corner. But nah, it's all good, absolutely good. And we have had some questions in that people have emailed, so that's we'll
Perfect.
cover those. But okay, so let's start with the weekend. I know you've done a couple of podcasts today as well. Um, for about 85 minutes, we were probably very nervous, not
Mm,
really sure what was going to happen. I always did believe we were going to get a winner. I don't know. There
mm,
was a sense that I definitely got. What I didn't expect was Man City to then drop points as well at West
mm,
Ham. Just talk me
mm.
through the Everton game as you saw it. And I don't
Yeah.
know if you saw any of the City West Ham game, or if you've seen any highlights, and just your
Mm.
thoughts on that game. Because again, City weren't quite. They just don't. I don't think they're going to win every game.
No,
Now to the end of the
no, I
season,
don't
but
think so. Yeah, I've
Everton,
seen the highlights, but yeah, I mean, on our game, yeah, look, it was frustrating, but I always felt we were playing well. I felt that it was a big step up from the Leverkusen game, where I just felt we never really got out of second gear. We didn't play with any fire in our bellies against Leverkusen. It was a coasting game, one where I felt that we always knew we got the second leg, and that we'll sort it then. And it was a very sort of low energy performance by our standards. This was different. I thought the urgency was amazing right from the get-go. Everyone sort of put the ball down, play, moving the ball quicker. We had loads of shots, didn't we, in the first half in particular, which I think set the tone. And it was just the quality, wasn't it, of the shots, not always the best. But as the game wore on, my sense was that we needed someone to just be a bit more courageous, to take responsibility and to say, I'm going to win us this game. Give it to me. Instead of pretending I'm going to take someone on and then just passing it and just handing the baton over to the next guy, I'm going to do it. And, that guy turned out to be Max Dowman. But I do think when he came on, it G'd everybody up. And there was just a lot more chaos. And that's what you need against good teams, against well organized teams. You need players to pop up here, there, and everywhere and take them on and make things happen. And we definitely made things happen towards the end of that
yes.
game.
And talking about Max Almond, I mean, is this a case of just that sort of one, you're quite fearless as you're young, but two, teams
Yeah.
haven't quite worked you out yet. I'm thinking even, Theo Walcott, 2006, he
Mm,
came on that first game, it
mm.
was against Villa. They didn't quite know how to handle him. Wayne Rooney was the same, Michael Owen was the same, and then obviously Bukayo Saka was the same. And then ultimately, teams do catch up and learn how to play against you. But for Max Dowman now, I think he's going to be our secret weapon for the rest of the
Yeah.
season. I mean, what are your
Mm.
thoughts?
Yeah, well, yeah, I really hope he's our secret weapon for the rest of the season. I mean, what an impact player he is, first and foremost. This guy's been out injured, by the way.
Mm.
Well, this kid has been out injured
Yeah,
for
three,
three
four
or four
months.
months, and for him to just come back in
Mm.
and be as sensational as he was at Mansfield, by the way.
Mm.
He was superb in that game, and then to sort of make the difference in a title defining game or potentially title defining game the way he did is nothing short of remarkable. Yeah, just loved what he did. What struck me about that performance was almost not him. It was the players around him because they couldn't stop giving him the ball.
No.
It was like, there you have it. Rice gave the ball to Dowman two more times, then he gave it to Saka in the
Mm,
entire 90 minutes. So, you know,
nice.
there you go, son. There you go. And then of course you feel like he's going to make something happen every time he has the ball. The cross was too good for Pickford. He draws a mistake out of a great keeper because the cross has got so much pace on it. And then we saw the goal, didn't we? Just unbelievable calmness, decision making, footwork. Yeah, it was just an absolute joy to behold, wasn't it? The whole experience of that
Mm.
that cameo from Dowman. So yeah, it's,
How would you
it's
sort of
unreal.
deal with Max now? Say, you were part of Mikel's coaching staff, and
Yeah.
he's asking you all, what would you do with Max now? Would you sort of keep him as a bit of an impact player? Would you give him the odd start? Would you protect him? I did notice that Arsenal didn't put him out at the media
Oh
bit,
no,
but
no,
you
no!
kind of
You wouldn't
went,
put him up for media.
yeah.
No,
And like
no.
with Victor Gyökeres, he was standing there, and I think he was sent away to
Yeah,
say, don't have to do it today, kind of thing. But like, how
yeah.
would you, from a football on the pitch sort of thing,
Yeah,
would you?
yeah, it's a good question. And look, when you've got someone as good as him,
Mm,
clearly, and he is good enough to be a difference maker in the here and now, the temptation's to start him, isn't it? And to use him however you can. But I don't think that's the right thing to do.
mm,
I personally think he should be used as an impact guy,
mm.
to be on the bench pretty much every game.
Yeah.
And and look, if we need it, if we don't need him,
Mm,
chill. Just enjoy the experience, blah blah blah, and just take that mental pressure off him.
mm.
Not that he seems to feel pressure,
He doesn't.
but
Probably
if
get a
if you
starter
keep
like Southampton
if he
next week,
keeps
and
yeah if you keep yeah
points.
exactly, it will start against Southampton.
Mm.
I wouldn't imagine he'd start against Leverkusen.
Yeah, no.
Um, he won't start the cup final, so we'll see. But I wouldn't burden him with too much too soon. You don't want to overdo it because
No.
he's still a year 11. He's still at school. It's
Bad, isn't it?
he's just man. He's not even taken his GCSEs yet. It
Mm.
is crazy. So yeah, don't overload him. But I don't think that they're going to do that anyway. I can't see a scenario unless, of course, Saka and Madueke and Odegaard and Eze remain. They all get
Yeah.
injured at the same time.
A bit like Ethan last year, wasn't he? Sort of thrown in only after we had injuries and we were a bit light.
Yeah,
What?
but
Who
yeah.
would you say Max reminds you of? If
Oof.
someone's kind of has seen a little bit of Max Down, and they're kind of saying who would you compare him to? You can't compare players, I get that, but who does he kind of remind you of? A more established player.
Yeah. Oh, goodness me. It's a really, really hard
Asking all the
question.
tough questions
It
today.
is a real tough one. That is, Akil. You've done a curveball. Um, do you know? It doesn't remind me of anyone.
Yeah.
I
Unique
just
player.
think he's a unique talent. I
Mm.
think he's got. I don't think I've ever seen anyone look as smooth at dribbling.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously, like, Mikel's used the comparison of Messi,
Mm.
right? That's the extreme example, and look, I wouldn't say that there aren't similarities because there are,
Mm.
but the way the ball's glued to his foot, the smoothness of his dribbling skills at speed
Mm.
is something that I don't know. I don't know if there's anyone in the Premier League that can or that does what he can do. So I already think he's his own player. He's got his own style. Who knows what he's going to develop into? There's a little bit of Cole Palmer maybe in terms of like coming in off the right and drifting and making things happen with real quality with that left foot. But then he's not the same as Cole Palmer. He's got there's bits of a lot of players in there. But when I see him, and I've seen him a few times now in the flesh, it's the speed of this kid's dribbling and the balance. And when you
Yeah.
look at balance, it's
Well, that
just
goal, that
yeah,
goal
yeah,
was that.
exactly. It's how effortlessly does a player move and change direction, and he does it.
Mm.
He has incredible balance, and
Mm.
yeah, I just can't wait to see. see how much he improves, year on year. No, nothing's guaranteed. Like
Mm.
we've seen it with Lewis Skelly and we've seen it with one area where you sort of take two steps forward and then one back, and it's like it doesn't. It's not a guarantee that it goes up and up
Yeah,
and up and up. But yeah, and there might be a little plateau.
yeah,
There always is for young players, especially when teams get used to him,
yeah.
as you've alluded to earlier. But I think he's different. I think
Mm,
he's your top tier, the
mm,
top tier
yeah,
of talent in terms of like Yamal. He's Yamal level
mm,
in terms of like what he can do at a young age. So yeah,
yeah,
I'm so glad he's with us and not someone
yeah,
else.
yeah. Um, I was just going to say a bit of a probably shout out to Per Mertesacker, who obviously leaves us this summer. But I mean,
Mm,
when he looks back at his kind of
mm,
post-playing career,
mm,
helped develop Saka, Emil Smith Rowe, who he ultimately made money from,
mm.
Max Dowman, done one hell of a job here, hasn't he?
Yeah, look, yeah, but it's not just about one person at
Of
an
course, of
academy.
course, but
Yeah, but obviously he's the
but
one that we
leading it,
know. He's the
yeah,
leader, and he
mm,
has done a very good job. I know that there's a lot of criticism at the moment about the sort of what happens from sort of 15 to 21s
mm,
and how many of those players are going on and having careers.
yeah,
The very special ones
mm,
are getting into the first team and making and in having great careers. But a lot of players that were brilliant at 12, 13, 11, 12, 13 are sort of falling by the wayside and they're not getting the big loans. So that's something we need to
is that not
work
just
on.
modern football now? Are you ever going to get more than one or two kind of generational talent type of players coming
Yeah, I'm
through?
not talking about the generation talent
You're just
ones
talking about
because
just
they're
generally.
going to make it anyway. I'm talking about players that are really good enough to be
Yeah,
professionals and play in the championship or play
right.
for other Premier League clubs.
Yeah,
We're probably not producing as many of those
yeah,
because that's where the business model comes in,
yeah,
where you can
mm,
make loads of money,
mm,
even if they don't make it with us. We sell them, we make money,
mm,
and that's what other clubs do, and they
yeah,
do it probably better than us. But
mm,
yeah, in terms, what I would say is and I want to credit Per because he's great
mm,
and I really like him and he
mm,
has done a great job, I think, overall. But I think the scouts that spot these guys deserve
mm,
just as much credit, if not more, because they're the ones that have got in there at ground level, identified something very special, and say, please come here. Because if you've got a really good young player, Chelsea will want him, Spurs will
mm.
want him, other clubs will want them, and it's persuading the
Bring the
families to
families
bring
in.
them in.
Mm,
But that is where Per is very good because he's such a
mm,
figurehead, and if he knows he's got a good young one
yeah,
at 7 or 8, I can imagine he'd be
yeah,
very personable with the
charming
parents,
them.
and yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So all of this goes on in the background, and we're seeing the fruits of that now. So yeah, look, it is amazing, and yeah, we're very very fortunate to have him, and I can't wait to see what he's like at 21, 22.
Mm.
I think he's going to be unreal.
Yeah. And just talking about sort of that you mentioned that cross and Jordan Pickford probably doesn't make many mistakes. We've seen him for England. It obviously went over. Well, what I did notice is a man who's maybe the jury's still out, Victor Gyökeres. Um, the way when that ball went over and it was kind of coming over and Pickford missed it, he was on his bike. He knew that ball was probably going to come across and he needs to be in that position.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe 3 months ago, he was maybe a yard too slow there. I
Mm,
don't know, but I
yeah.
actually thought I know the goal was a tap in, but I think
Mm,
there was more to that than just a tap in. I mean, I don't know what
yeah.
your thoughts were.
Yeah, look, I think there's more to that goal on a
Mm,
lot of levels.
mm.
So that goal starts, and you'll remember it, where the crowd are on David Raya's back a
Yeah,
little bit because he doesn't want to release the ball. He's trying
mm,
to play out from the back, yeah?
mm,
So there's a little bit of frustration there. And then we start tippy tapping it around, and it's a bit hairy at the
mm,
back, and everyone's like, oh, what's going on? And we get it out. We
mm,
release Gabriel, and what happens there is that Mosquera's in a whole world of space because
mm.
Everton have gone bang 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 to press us. So by playing out from the back, Gabriel's then able to play this diagonal to Mosquera, and four Everton players are out of the game, and they're stretched, and we race upfield. Mosquera gives it to Dowman. We win a throw, and before they've got back, we've taken the quick
The quick
throw,
one.
and Dowman has it. So that was a brilliant advert for playing out from the back. And if
Mm.
for those people that just want Raya to hoof it, that is maybe just a little bit of a sort of not a reality check, but just a little reminder that, maybe a 50-50 hoof upfield
Mm.
isn't as good
They just come
as
back. Yeah.
taking that risk, and because we got quality possession, and then we went upfield, and then yeah, the cross is brilliant. It's got loads of whip on it. I'd credit also Hincapié,
Yeah.
because he legged it to get
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic. And on Gyökeres, yeah, what happened was when the ball was in midair and he saw Pickford coming out to get it,
Mm.
um, he just ghosted off his man.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
just took a gamble and
Yeah.
just said, "I'm going to make 2 or 3 steps just in case." And obviously it paid off. So yeah, look, nice moment for Victor.
Mm.
That in itself would have been an amazing winner, wouldn't it?
Mm.
Prior to
Yeah.
if we never got the Dowman moment, but
Mm.
yeah, that was the icing on the cake. So yeah, it was a real special game
Mm.
to be at, and I think everyone that was there won't forget it. Just I
Mm.
don't think I'll ever forget it.
How do you rate Victor Gyökeres season generally? I know you were I remember about 2 years ago, you were the one who was saying three strikers, always need three
Mm.
strikers. We had
Yeah,
two at the time. We've
yeah,
obviously got Kai and Jesus and
mm.
Victor Gyökeres now, and then
Mm.
you've also got Mikel Marino as a
Yeah,
makeshift.
yeah.
But how would you think his season's gone? Obviously, it was dominated by a couple of moments like this and
Mm.
Spurs, but generally, have you
Yeah,
noticed a
okay.
difference in him?
Okay. Yeah, I think look, I think his goal record is fine. He's had some good moments. But overall, I think in general play, we expected a bit more,
Yeah.
expected a bit more dynamism. When he makes those
Mm.
charging runs down the left, cutting in and scoring like he did in Portugal. We haven't seen enough of that this season. And the quality of his link play could have been better.
Mm.
Um, and he got off to a really nervous start, didn't he? Where he didn't really get involved in games. But I do think he's getting there. I think that I'm seeing a lot more sharpness. I think his movement's better now than it was at the start of this season. He's a bit cleverer, and he's making some really good runs. And we're finding him more than we did, definitely. But he's not the finished article, and maybe he won't become the finished article.
Mm.
But he is a very very good centre forward that will score us goals. He's our top scorer for a reason. And but yeah, I couldn't say it's anything other than he's done all right. I can't
Yeah.
go beyond. I can't say
Yeah.
it's been great because
Yeah.
I don't think it has been.
Yeah.
But it's been fine. But yeah, what will happen? I think this summer is Gabriel Jesus maybe will be sort of allowed to leave, and then I think it's really important that we bring in another one so that we
Mm.
have then him, the new player, Gyökeres and Havertz, and then between them you've got three great options.
Mm. A shout for, I think, Mosquera as well, because you mentioned him in
Oh
that goal. He came on against Spurs for the last 20 minutes, and I thought he was just
yeah, he was
fantastic. It
brilliant.
was like
Yeah,
he obviously was picked to come on ahead of Ben White. Now I know Ben White's been carrying probably an injury, and he's been out of the few match day squad, so there might maybe that was something to do with it. But he obviously Mikel trusts Mosquera. Well, why do you think it is that you trust him, and what are your kind of views on him?
yeah. Well,
And he's
he
played out of
trusts him.
position
Yeah,
essentially a a
yeah,
little bit.
but
Maybe yes, maybe he can play both, I don't know. But
is anyone out of position,
yeah, maybe
Akil,
not.
in this
Mm.
Arsenal team? No,
Yeah,
I mean it generally. I think Arteta signs people who aren't sort of pigeonholed.
yeah,
Obviously, Gyökeres is
of
because
course.
just a out and out striker. But almost everyone else, I think, can play
Mm.
in different positions. And Mosquera definitely fits the bill there. You're right about that Spurs cameo. I thought he was great there.
Yeah.
It was interesting, wasn't it? Obviously, that he got the nod and not White,
Mm.
when Timber got injured. Um, I thought it was great. And look, who would have thought Mascara and Dowman would have been the ones that combine, you know, down that right hand side in the biggest time in the game when we need desperate for a winner in a huge game, and it's Mascara and Dowman that are at the heart of it down the right. You just wouldn't have called that.
Yeah.
No, I like his temperament. He's very calm. He's determined. He's sort of yeah, a good passer and makes good decisions by and large. I can't really remember him having one bad game, and that
Mm.
was Newcastle away.
Mm.
And he played. I think he started ahead of Saliba that day,
Mm.
and he didn't look right. He looked really nervous. He was edgy, and he got hooked at half time.
Yeah.
Since then,
Mm.
I can't remember him having a bad game. So yeah, I think a sensational
What a
signing.
signing.
Yeah,
Mm.
out for the money. Like, I mean, his value is probably quadrupled,
Yeah, yeah, easily.
across this season. So yeah, well done to the recruitment team on that
Yeah,
one.
for sure. Talking about the number 10, I think that's been probably one of the big debates of the season. You
Yeah.
know, obviously the skipper's been kind of in and out due to injury last
Mm.
season, last 18 months really. Martin Odegaard, important player for Mikel. He kind of sets the standard on that whole pressing.
Yeah.
Eze, I still think the jury's out. I think we love him, the way we signed him. We love everything about him. He's had some great moments, but I don't think anybody's going to say he's been absolutely outstanding this season.
Mm.
Um, who, what is it about those two players and what they bring, and what do you
Yeah.
think this Arsenal team need? So
Yeah.
say everyone's fit for the cup final. Who would be
Yeah.
number 10?
Yeah, yeah, it's a toughie. It is. Yeah, you're full of them tonight. I mean, yeah, if everyone's fully fit and everyone's in form,
Mm,
probably Odegaard. But because of the nature of he gives us a bit more control and maybe
mm.
fluidity, and he gets on the ball a little bit more. But
Do you think we've lacked that a little bit when he's
at
been out?
times, in certain
Mm,
matches, definitely.
mm,
There was we had a reminder at Leeds, didn't we? It
mm,
was quite a chaotic game,
mm.
and he comes on, he calms us down, and suddenly we're knitting, everything's knitted together. And it's not always like that, of course it's not.
Brentford
But
as well, actually, wasn't it? I
yeah,
know he lost the man for the goal, but he certainly made a difference.
yeah, I think that. But there's not very little in it, but they're stylistically really different.
Yeah.
I think there's a scenario where I'd love to see both play together.
Yeah.
I think you could have Odegaard as your right eight and Eze as your left eight, and then Rice or Zubimendi as your sort of single guy in certain matches or in certain stages of certain matches. You know, like when you're chasing the goal, for example, and that would be amazing to see a bit more often. Eze plays higher, and so what I think works well with Eze is that he can link with the striker much closer proximity. He can start high, drop into midfield like he did against Spurs, and draw people with him, which creates space for others. And he has more shots than Odegaard, but Odegaard brings a lot more touches, a lot more probably control to the team. So they're both good in different ways, but the problem they've got is that Max Dowman
Mm.
can probably wants their spot.
Mm.
That's the position that he might end up in.
Mm.
So yeah,
Great problem to have, though, isn't
yeah, it's a
it?
magnificent
Yeah.
problem to have. And look, I hate to compare them because I like them all in different ways. But I think what will happen in the cup final is that Eze plays,
Yeah.
and I'm excited to see Eze play.
Mm.
And I hope that he's scored a few goals at Wembley.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he can get another one. This is it's his kind of stage, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
He was for the big moments at Palace, wasn't he? This last.
and against Spurs, he was magnificent against Spurs, and in both games. So, can he be magnificent against Manchester City? Yeah, he can. It was his pass, remember,
Mm.
over the top for Martinelli when we got that equaliser earlier on in the season against City. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm super pumped for the for the Carabao Cup final,
Mm.
and yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll be Eze in the team.
What is it about this squad that is different to previous squads?
Mm.
You just feel that they're all fighting, they're all on the same hymn sheet, whether they're starting
Yeah,
or not. I actually think that Downman goal as well summed it up because it was actually
yeah,
Victor Gyökeres who won the first header. Gabby
mm.
Martinelli wins the second. You're in the
Yeah,
96th minute. It's not your big centre back clearing it.
yeah,
It's your number nine and your left midfielder going to win the ball. Like they're all willing to do their dirty work. You saw Trossard, you saw
yeah.
Madueke come on at Leverkusen. His first action was, you
Mm.
know, defending.
Yeah, yeah,
What is it about this squad that's different
yeah.
to previous squads?
Yeah,
Like they
they're
seem to really
tough.
want it.
I think they're tougher. I
Mm,
think they're mentally tough. They're gritty, and
mm,
that they don't have. They're not set in stone. As in, with this sort of team, I think they can all turn their hand to different things.
mm,
They can play pretty football if they want. And we've seen, maybe not enough, but we've seen enough. We have seen it,
Yeah.
but they can also tough it out and they can play on the counter and they can beat teams up. They
Mm.
can outrun teams. I think this Arsenal team can beat any team in about 4 or 5 different ways.
Mm.
And that is what makes this team special, in my opinion, as well as the sort of camaraderie and the unity and all of that and the depth. I
Mm.
think that's obviously a big thing this season. The subs aren't the subs are of exactly the same level as the ones coming off. So, and it's won us numerous points, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, and Mikel has built this team.
Mm.
It's his team,
Mm.
and I think you have to say that as well as buying good players, he's bought good lads, good
Mm.
characters, good people. Who seem to be getting on really well with each other. I mean, that celebration,
Mm.
obviously, it's a massive goal.
Right
Everyone's
in
going to
front of
go
me.
nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, were you piling in? Uh,
Not quite on row 11, but I had a good view.
yeah, excellent. But what struck me was Madueke. He's
Mm.
come off.
Mm.
Really, he's a right winger,
Yeah.
Madueke.
I'm
Downman's come on the right wing and won us the game,
still
and he
happy.
is as excited as everybody else, if not more, to get involved and to celebrate with Max. So that for me speaks volumes,
Yeah.
and it's what we want to see, right?
Mm.
It's we want as supporters, we want to see a team that love each other,
Yeah.
that will do anything to cover their mates' backs,
Yeah.
and this team do it. They're not always going to play brilliantly, but there haven't been many no-shows. There haven't
Yeah.
been many times where players have been lazy or they've
Mm.
let the side down. This group, yeah, they've got high standards
Mm.
and no one wants to drop the ball.
Mm. And talking about style, it's kind of it's been the elephant in the room for a while. It's everything the media talk
Yeah.
about. And maybe that's just because Arsenal in 4 competitions are absolutely
Yeah.
ruling the show right now. I don't know. But like, there's obviously been, stick from
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
I was at Brighton and I was in that away end, and it wasn't pretty. We battled, we fought. The Brighton manager had his say, but when that final whistle went, I don't think there was anyone in that 3,000 at Brighton who cared. I was going to swear there, but who
Mm,
cared? The concourse afterwards, it was all happy, people hugging each other, people really
yeah.
believing. That's the first time I felt the belief.
Yeah.
Always thought Arsenal could win this league. I felt we are going to win the league at that Brighton game. But again,
Yeah.
yesterday as well, I don't think anyone cared how we won. It's just about winning. But
Yeah.
everyone else seems to be quite obsessed by it.
Mm. Yeah.
Why do you think that is? And
Because we're massive, and look, no one cares about City. No one wants to talk about City. No, I think it's to the neutral. It'd be funny, I suppose, if Arsenal were to sort of let it slip. It would make it more exciting. So, people are happy to jump on that. The criticism over the style, I think, is grossly unfair. We don't cheat at anything. We're just tough. It's as simple as that. We're just tough, and we manage games better than we used to. We make better decisions. We're clever over set pieces, without making fouls. Sometimes we might have got away with the odd one, not very
yeah,
often. A lot of the time, it is within the rules of the game, the way that we've worked space for these corners. Yeah, for even to label us cheats is just disrespectful and frankly garbage. John Obi Mikel coming out with nonsense
he's a
last
weird
week.
one though, isn't he? He's
Yeah,
a
I mean,
weird
you can't
one.
take that seriously. It's
No.
just clickbait stuff. Um, Look, I personally, and I'm not just saying this. I love to see, um, not the dark arts, but I love to see us sort of pushing that boundary as much as
Mm.
possible. It's what it's. I used to look at the teams that used to win the leagues, like Man United and Chelsea in particular, and even City, and think, oh, they've got that edge
Yeah.
to them. They've got that little bit of. They're really streetwise, and Arsenal have never been streetwise
Yeah.
until now.
Mm.
And suddenly now that we're streetwise, being streetwise is you call it something else.
Mm.
You call it cheating,
Yeah.
or whatever. So yeah, it's so unfair. This, as I said, we can. If people want to come and have a football match with us and play a nice, pretty
Yeah.
game,
We'll
we
play.
will we
Yeah.
will whoop most of
Mm.
them. Okay,
Mm.
and the reason that is the reason
Mm.
they don't do it. They
Mm.
don't dare do it. Um, and if teams want to sit deep, and that will frustrate us, and it might make us look a bit boring at times. But we beat most of them,
Mm,
and if teams want to have a fight and a war and slug it out, we'll beat them. We'll beat them because we're fitter, we're
mm,
stronger, and we've got a little bit more nous. So, yeah, I this team is how exactly how I want it to be. I'd love to see a few more swashbuckling displays. I
mm,
would, but my hunch, and I hope I hope I'm right here, is that once we win a league,
mm.
that we'll relax into it a little bit and maybe
Pressure's off a bit. Media
yeah,
get bored,
yeah.
move on to someone else.
Exactly, and we can cut loose a little bit. I
Mm,
did think we might get that this season,
mm.
but my sense is now that, like you said, it doesn't
Doesn't
matter if
matter.
we don't. It doesn't. It really doesn't matter. Yeah,
Well, I mean, I think Thierry Henry, when he was on Sky a couple of months ago, said, we asked Mikel Arteta to find a way to win. Ultimately, that's what he done. If you think, what, only 2 years, 2 seasons ago, we got more points than the Invincibles. We scored more goals than ever before. We were scoring for fun,
yeah,
but ultimately we lost out to City. Now, maybe City 2 years ago were not the City now, but we had a near perfect January to May and still
yeah,
didn't quite
yeah.
win the
Oh,
league.
there was no bottle job there at
No,
all.
no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
But what is it about the style that's changed? And do you think? I mean,
Mm,
I wasn't saying. Do you think it's happened kind of on purpose? Which I guess it
mm,
has. But
mm,
what did Mikel? What do you think happened that summer when Mikel reflected on the season and thought,
yeah,
how have we not won? And incidentally, I went
mm,
to a leadership conference thing, and
yeah,
Mikel and Steve Kerr from the
yeah,
from States, they were
yeah.
speakers. I
Oh,
asked
okay.
Mikel, I was like, what sort of your biggest
Mm,
disappointment so
mm,
far? What's your biggest high? What's your biggest
yeah.
disappointment? And he said losing that league that year,
That
with
year, yeah,
those
yeah,
goals from score. But what is it? What do you think? How do you think he reflected that summer? And obviously, how has he got us to where we are now,
yeah.
looking like we should win the league?
Yeah, I think it is going back to sort of the basics, isn't it?
Mm,
In terms of being just hard to beat,
yeah.
making us first and foremost tough and solid, yeah, near on impossible to beat. Um, we take risks because
Mm,
we really do sort of squeeze out. We leave ourselves one on one at the back, two on two at the back. But he's got real trust now in all of the defenders,
mm,
that they can handle it. And I don't think he had the personnel before to fully trust that. So that is a big change. With the quality of our defensive players has definitely gone up a level. Um, I think pulling the introduction of Zubimendi
mm,
gives us a better platform,
mm.
with him and Rice. Now, I like it when Rice plays as an eight
Yeah.
and not a double pivot particularly, but we've got the option to do it, which is different. Do you know what? I see this team as an amalgamation of like the early Arteta team and the Flair team, because it was all about being solid, wasn't it, at the start?
Mm,
And he's brought that back, but he's got better players now in the attack, more mature players. And when it comes together, it's going to be a thing of beauty, but it hasn't fully gelled yet. Why hasn't it fully gelled? I think it's I think it's in part the workload of what's asked of the players. It's
mm.
no one's playing that great football this year, are they, in the Premier League? There's so much football that I think that it's all a bit jaded. And everyone is scared stiff of Arsenal, so that they play super defensive against us, and therefore it's harder to go and play that great football that we saw before. Um, I can't. There are always things that have changed.
Yeah.
Little tweaks here and there. The fullbacks, they were coming into midfield. Calafiori still does it,
Mm,
but Timber is so high and Calafiori so high. That's a kind of a new thing.
mm,
Um, there's been a few tweaks, but um, I don't. It's hard to give you a clear answer. I think it's just an evolving
mm.
tactical approach from Arteta. But this season, I think he made a conscious decision that it's all about winning. We're not here to make any friends. We have to win this year, and we will win in whichever way a game needs us to win.
Yeah.
He can bend to the style of any match now, and so can his players. And I don't think the rest of the country know it. They don't know how good we are. They just see us as being a bit boring, not that exciting. Always score from corners. They don't know how
Mm.
good we are. And maybe some of our own supporters don't realise sometimes because you get caught in their moment.
Yeah.
And
No.
but I think this team can adapt. That's the big change. It can adapt
Mm.
to any tactical challenge that it faces. And in the past, we couldn't. We had to
Mm.
play a certain way. If it worked, great. If it didn't, we got beat. And I think the reason we're so hard to beat now is because we have that adaptability.
We'll soon be coming to a stage of the season where people will be voting for the player of the year, the players, the football writers.
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say you can't say Haaland. Not like you probably would, I mean,
No.
but who are you voting for? I mean, I'm hoping it's an Arsenal player. So say
Yeah.
Arsenal do go and win the league. Who are you voting for and why?
Yeah, it's a good shout. I think there's three. I think there's three that are locked in to be in your top six in the Premier League sort of
Mm.
Player of the Year shortlist. And that's Declan Rice,
Yeah,
Gabriel Magalhaes,
yeah.
and David Raya. I think that those
Talk me
three.
through each of them.
Yeah,
Why?
well,
I mean,
Raya's made
it's
some.
fairly obvious,
Yeah,
but
yeah. I mean, Raya's made some unreal saves at key moments. That one. It was against recently where was it Garnacho, wasn't it, at
mm,
Chelsea? That was phenomenal. There's been some great double saves. He's really, yeah. There's the odd little moment where he'll flap at something, but
mm,
by and large, I think he's been unreal
mm,
and a big upgrade on Aaron Ramsey, a much better upgrade than any of us really thought at the time. Gabriel Magalhaes is symptomatic, he's emblematic of the team, isn't he? He's got that character, he's got that spirit. No one makes more blocks than him. No one makes more clearances. He's the best player I've ever seen attacking corners. Inside both boxes, an absolute monster. And if we have the best defense in the world, and I think we do have the best defense in the world, then he is actually the leader of it. I know that Saliba's class, and we love him, but Gabriel has become the leader of the defense, and I think I would like to see that recognised. And then you got Declan Rice, who kind of does it all. He just runs his heart out, but he drives the team on. He's involved. If you look at the build up to so many goals, he's often involved somewhere along the way. He scored some great goals, made some amazing defensive contributions. He is the best all round
yeah,
midfielder in the country. It's as simple as that. Rodri's had a bit of a shocker of a season.
yeah. Two
He's the
seasons,
best.
really.
He's the
Yeah, the
best now.
injury.
So I don't know who I'm going to vote for yet,
Mm.
because I will get a vote for the football writer one. Um, so yeah, any of those three.
Mm.
Yeah. What about am I on the right lines? Do you
I
reckon?
think so. I think so. I think that they're certainly the three. I think Shuri and Timber's probably been touted. I was at the
Yeah.
London Football Awards the other week with the Willow Foundation, and Declan, Andrew, and Timber were nominated for
Okay.
Player of the Year. So Timber's certainly got the
Yeah.
respect. Of the football community.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, you certainly think those three stroke four are the ones. And I think it's incredible that we're not even talking about Saliba much. Like
Yeah.
he was the Rolls Royce. He was the one we were thinking he's the absolute star in that
Yeah.
back line, and he still is.
Oh,
But
I still love him.
but
And look,
but there's a few of them
they're
now that
both
are on the
brilliant.
same level.
They're both brilliant, and they're a great combination. But and Saliba's probably better on the ball at times,
Mm.
But um, I just think, yeah, this season,
Complement each
maybe,
other.
and last season, Gabriel was. I don't know. It's probably his personality because I love seeing players play with personality,
He's
and
cut those mistakes out as well. I think
yeah.
he completely.
Probably the odd one. I mean, the Wolves, we've
Yeah,
had two, haven't we? The Wolves one, he messed up there.
yeah,
He had
yeah, yeah.
panicked.
That's just
And there was the square
communication.
back pass against Bournemouth. So he hasn't been
Yeah,
flawless.
yeah,
Yeah, but in a way, that makes it me a more of an alluring pick because he's
yeah.
bounced back from those
Mm,
disappointments to,
mm.
against Brighton, superb, wasn't it? Especially in that first half. Goodness me.
Well, when Raya actually gave it away and he
Mm.
managed to get on the line, and that would have been one. We would have been one down
Yeah.
there
The
if
three players we mentioned, none of them are perfect. Like
yeah,
Rice made mistakes. Rice made one at Spurs, but they all have charisma,
yeah,
don't they?
yeah.
Like, they have something about them, a bit of star quality, and you know that all of them are desperate to win.
Yeah.
Like they have the attitude of winners, and yeah, hopefully that's what they'll be at the end of the
Yeah.
season. Yeah.
Right, gonna ask you another question.
Okay.
What are we gonna win this year? Talk me through all four competitions and maybe rate the chances out of 10. Let's have a little bit of fun.
Okay.
So let's start with the
Okay.
Premier League because it's
Premier
fresh in our
League.
mind.
I think, wow, we've got a 9 out of 10 chance of
Mm,
winning the Premier League. I think we will win the Premier League.
mm,
So yeah, I cannot wait for that to happen. It's not done. It's definitely not done. But we've put ourselves in an
that's-
unbelievable position. So yeah, I think we will get that done.
Champions
Um,
League, probably the hardest.
Champions
I know our
League.
route's a little bit easier, but
Yeah.
I still think it's tough.
Yeah, it's the hardest probably from here
Mm,
of them
yeah,
all. So yeah, probably 7 out of 10 for the Champions League, I would say, because we do have a good route.
mm.
Definitely. I mean, Bird of Glimt look good. If we
Yeah,
were to progress,
they
that's
do.
not an
But
easy
you would
away.
back yourself, wouldn't you? To
You'd have to.
yeah, yeah,
You'd have to. And then, Newcastle, Barcelona, Atletico, yeah, I think you got a great chance of
yeah,
reaching the final. Then you got 50-50. But my fear with the Champions League is the gas. Have we
yeah.
got enough
Mm,
left in the tank? Can we get Ødegaard and Trossard and these guys? Can we get everyone fit?
yeah.
We can get if we can get everyone or almost everyone fit,
Mm.
got a chance. But my sense is that we're going to get injuries and
Which is
that
kind of why you want
yeah.
to try and wrap up the league as much as you can. We
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
Bournemouth at home and then Man City away. You win both of those, and you're probably, we
Mm.
would think that's a 9.5 out of 10. Then bit of
Yeah,
a
yeah,
worry up
yeah, yeah,
collapse, but you
definitely.
win at City, and suddenly that's a moment, and then you can potentially
Yeah, yeah,
rotate a bit
definitely.
more. I don't
If
know.
the league goes to the wire, the
Yeah,
Champions League
then it's
becomes
tough.
much harder.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, yeah. Let's see. But have we ever had a better chance?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
since Barcelona,
Mm.
in what was it, 05,
6.
oh
Yeah,
06,
yeah.
yeah. We haven't had a better chance, and we
Mm.
definitely, I think us and Bayern
Mm.
are definitely the two best teams.
Mm. Mm.
But the best teams don't always win it,
Don't
do they?
always, yeah. No.
I just feel that like the demands on the team, it could catch up with us. And if it catches up with us, it's more likely to happen in the Champions League.
What about like where does the FA Cup sit? Is it a bit of an annoyance? Is it a bit of a
No,
like?
never, never.
I agree. I mean, and
Never.
again, you Southampton away, you back yourself, and suddenly you're at Wembley again
Yeah.
for the semi-final. I mean,
Yeah. I think yeah, that's probably the third hardest to win, even though we've got a good draw.
mm,
Um, it's going to mean more maybe to
yeah,
City and Liverpool if they're not going to win
yeah,
anything else. They're going to the winner of that tie
mm,
is going to put their eggs in that basket and really go for it.
could keep
But
slotting the job, couldn't
yeah,
it?
exactly. But we could absolutely win it. Of course we could. So yeah, 7.5,
Mm,
8 out of 10
mm,
chance, I'd say.
mm,
I'd expect us to get to the semis now, and then
yeah,
who knows? And
yeah.
then you got the League Cup final, which
Get into
yeah,
one-off
who
games.
knows? I mean, it's
Mm,
50-50, but it's a eight. We're in the final, 8 out of 10 chance, and
of course.
um, yeah, I mean, I think I think we're playing. Like as I said, we're hard. We're probably harder to beat than City.
Mm. We're
But
playing them at
doesn't.
the right time, considering they got smashed at Real Madrid. They've just dropped points to
Yeah,
West Ham and
yeah.
Forest the week before, unless they a
Mm.
miracle comeback against Madrid in the week,
Which they could do. It
which
wouldn't.
they
It
could
wouldn't
do.
shock
But
me. Yeah, but it wouldn't
yeah,
shock me that much. But yeah, I think they'll want to. They'll be really up for that final because they'll know the psychological
yeah,
value of it, and
yeah.
they'll know if they can beat us and beat us well,
Mm.
then it might upset us. That is a huge game for them. For us, it's also huge because
Yeah.
it's the first trophy, and once we win one, you'd like to think we'll relax into it. Um, it's
Reminds me of '98 so
yeah,
much with that sort of passing of the baton a little bit when we
yeah,
we obviously won the double, we won at Old Trafford. That was the moment. Maybe the League Cup here is that moment where if
could be.
Mikel does beat Pep, you
Yeah,
just feel like the momentum has changed. Arsenal are
yeah,
here to
yeah.
win.
Yeah, I said at the start of the season we would win two trophies,
Mm,
and I think I said that on here. I've said it on a few
mm,
things. I said I'm confident that we won't just get one, we'll get two,
mm.
and I still think we'll get two. Um, and as long as one of them is the Premier League, I
Yeah,
really don't mind. Um, it's I would happily, I would settle for the Premier League, but I think this team is good enough
yeah,
to get a couple,
mm,
definitely, and maybe get three of the four.
mm.
The four is a pipe dream.
Yeah.
I just don't think
Mm.
that's doable. But yeah, it could be a really special few months.
Exciting.
Like
God.
we are lucky that we are supporting the best team in the country. And look, we've all earned it, right? 'Cause we've
Yeah.
been through some tough times. We've had, we have had to put up with a lot of stuff.
Mm,
So let's just
mm,
enjoy this position we're in because it's been a long time coming,
mm.
and we deserve to celebrate. And if the celebration police try and dampen our parade, they can forget about it. We're gonna have fun the
I
next few
won't.
weeks.
I won't see them see their messages because I'll be enjoying it too much and probably a few beers in as well, or a
Love
few
it.
Jack Daniels in. There was, I mean, ironically, what you say about we've been through a lot. I found a box of old tickets. Obviously, a lot of them are digital now and stuff, but I think most football fans who certainly go to away games keep
Mm.
their tickets. And
Yeah, yeah.
I found some of those when we had lost 8-2 at Old Trafford, 6-0 at Chelsea, that 5-0 at Liverpool.
Mhm.
There was some real tough moments in that
Oh,
time, weren't there? So
massively tough.
we definitely,
Yeah.
the fan base definitely deserves it.
Yeah, and even under Arteta, it's been a long journey.
Mm,
It's
mm,
not been smooth, and we weren't playing, the same sport as Liverpool and
yeah,
City at one point.
yeah.
We were miles off
We
them.
lost 5 home games in a row, I think,
Yeah,
during lockdown when it was behind closed doors. We've all
yeah,
forgotten about it because no
yeah,
one was there, and we sort of,
yeah,
but we lost to Burnley, Wolves,
yeah.
Everton. Like we weren't great.
No, no, we've
Um,
come a long way,
mm,
and yeah, look, I'm proud of the team. Like I'm
yeah,
really proud of this team, and I think that the wider country and people as a whole, if they took off the sort of their partisan,
mm,
views and whatnot, I think that they would respect this team as a special one, um, because it's been building brick by brick over sort of 5 6 years, hasn't it? And we're now in a position where we are favourites for
mm.
every competition we're in, and like that hasn't happened in a generation, has it? So it's been
I'll
yeah.
tell you what. Come the summer, people will be begging that Rice delivers a great ball for England and
Oh
Madueke or
mate,
Saka
yeah,
can get a goal.
yeah, yeah.
And believe me, if there are a few set piece goals, suddenly the narrative's probably going to change.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, look, yeah, the perception hopefully will change, and
Mm,
then this team will be sort of regarded as a great team.
mm.
But ultimately,
Who cares?
I don't care.
Yeah,
Like
same.
if there's a great Liverpool team or a great Man City team,
Mm,
I'm not happy about it.
yeah,
I can respect it and say,
mm,
yeah, well, what a team they are, what a
yeah,
team. But I don't like it
yeah,
because it's not Arsenal.
mm,
So why should everyone else like it when we're this good?
yeah,
So yeah, look, we're not about making friends. It's
mm.
only about winning this season. And we said we have to win this season. Mikel, I think, knows we have to win. And hopefully we will. And then yeah, onwards and upwards, and maybe we can win with a little bit more panache in the years to come.
Great way to end, Adrian. Adrian, thank you for your time, and hopefully we might see you at the Hard Rock, obviously in a week's time, and
Yeah.
hopefully I'll see you at the parade.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For the meantime, yeah, it's in my diary. Hard Rock. I want to be there.
No spa days that day, right?
Yeah, no, I'm not double booking it, and but I feel nice and fresh for it.
Well, you'll be
But I
glowing.
look forward to meeting
Yeah,
lots of the members that day, and
yeah.
we can chew the fat, I'm
Have
sure.
a chat. And hopefully we'll have a cup final. We'll celebrate it. So.
Oh, that'd be nice, yeah.
Mm.